Hello and welcome to the Daily Meal for Saturday, the 6th of December 2025. Today was match day. What a glorious match day it was. Absolutely fantastic. Mainly because we got the result, we got the 3 points, we got the win away at Bristol City. And let's talk about the game. Let's start with the official match report from millfc.co.uk. Lions win at Bristol City. Things you love to hear. Millwall 1-0 winners at Bristol City in the EFL Championship on Saturday afternoon. Mihailo Ivanovic struck the winner in the second half at Ashton Gate to give Alex Neil's side a third victory in a row. Alex Neil made one change to his starting 11 for the visit to Ashton Gate, with Zach Sturge returning from a period out with concussion to take the place of Danny McNamara, who dropped to the bench. A defence-splitting pass from the Robins began the game just 2 minutes in, but Neto Borges' cross was cleared by Jake Cooper. Anis Mehmeti's swerving crossing just narrowly crept past Max Crocom's far post as the home side were on top. Scott Twine attempted to bombard his way into Mill's penalty area on 14 minutes, but found himself crowded out by the Lions. Whilst at the other end, the first movement towards a Bristol City goal from Mill came as Femi Aziz and Rahis Bangor-Williams combined, and the latter's cross evaded everyone. The Lions started to gain a foothold in the game from there, with Tristan Kramer sending in a cross on the right hand side that had to be cleared, but City then advanced into the box on the half-hour mark and looked for goal, with an attack stopped by a clearance from Jake Cooper. Amaku's effort from the edge of the box went over as the half-time break neared, with a sweeping move a minute from time, seeing Amaku and Sturge combine only for the defence to clear behind as Bangor-Williams waited on the edge of the 6-yard box. Camille Negley replaced Casper De Nora at half-time. What's that about? Is he injured? I hope not. I do hope not. With Mark Sykes' vicious goal-bound effort having to be blocked by Cooper in the first action of the second half. Ziz scooped in an attempt over following that, with Sykes and Cooper's personal battle continuing moments later as the defender got his head to another strike on goal. On 59 minutes though, the Lions were in front as Negley's pass found Aziz. The winger burst into the box and had two bites at Redek Vitek, that's their goalkeeper. But despite the goalkeeper saving both efforts, the slightest of touches from Bangor-Williams saw the ball into the path of Ivanovic, who smashed home to open the scoring. Indeed. And what it was. So Bangor-Williams steps in, he kind of intercepts the ball. He lays it off to Negley. And Negley, kicks it down the wing for Femi Aziz to run onto. And then what's going on behind the scenes is that while Femi Aziz is running down the wing with it, Bangor-Williams is absolutely sprinting to get into the penalty area, and he does get into the penalty area. And by the time he gets there, Femi Aziz has one shot that gets parried back to him. Femi Aziz steps up, cracks on the other shot, that gets saved. That goes back to Bangor-Williams. He's looking to get on the rebound himself and shoot. Instantly and quickly realises, in less than 1 second, that won't be possible. So he sees Ivanovic there, taps it down to him, and Ivanovic just blasts it into goal. Happy days. Absolutely fantastic. I believe that was scored in front of the Millwall fans as well, so there you go. Aziz scooped an attempt over following that, with Sykes and Cooper's personal battle continuing moments later as the defender got his head to another strike on goal on 59 minutes though. I've read that. I've already read that bit. I forgot to scroll down. My apologies. Following that opener, City were becoming frantic in their attempts to find an equaliser, with Crocombe stopping a header on the line and Kramer getting in the way of Twine's strike from inside the area, before Aziz was situated well to deflect a close-range shot behind on 69 minutes. Yeah, we got a bit of luck in that game, and we'll get into that at the end if they mention it, but we got a lot of luck. Weirdly, well, I'll mention it when we get there, if we get there. Emil Riz contrived to miss from just a couple of yards out, just inside the last 20 minutes, with a double substitution following as Amaku and Bangor-Williams were replaced by Turno Ballo and Danny McNamara. The former sub and Ivanovic looked to combine with 15 minutes to play, but Ballo's hit from outside the box was blocked, with McNamara's half volley from the floor. Yeah, he had Ballo passed it into McNamara. McNamara had a shot. The keeper saves it. It comes back to McNamara. By this time, he's on. No, it goes back to Ivanovic, I think, and then Ivanovic has a shot that gets saved, and it gets deflected back to McNamara. By this time, he's on the floor because I think the guy's he got pushed over or something. And then when he's on the floor, he swipes his leg at it, and it's it was a shot on target from being on the floor. Like, fantastic. You think, oh, here we go. Was McNamara gonna score his third goal for Millwall? And he scored 2 goals. He's only scored 2 goals before for Millwall, and they were both in the same game. And who was the opponent? Bristol City's, exactly. Saved ahead of Alfie Doughty, Macaulay Langstaff's introductions, Dan Kelly and Aziz making way. Smart Millwall move then saw Sturge fire over with Crocombe, then having to tip Ross McCrory strike wide inside 5 minutes of second half stoppage time before the referee blew the final whistle on a classic away win for the Lions. Well, they didn't mention it. Bristol City are right at the end. They got the ball in the nets, and the linesman gave it off for offside. And I've got to say, that wasn't offside. It wasn't offside. It was one of those that, at the moment the ball was played forward, it wasn't offside. But by the time you turn from looking at the guy to looking at the guy kicking the ball to looking at the guy making the run, you would have think that he was offside. So I think the linesman, he's ball watching and not really. But it's bizarre that we got given that, because the referee, in my opinion, was an absolute disgrace. I was starting to think that we've had betting scandals around the world, in American sports and in Turkish football. I'm starting to think is this referee bent? Not like an homosexual, but like he's giving decisions because he's being paid by the mafia or something. Like, he gave everything to Bristol City, and then when Bristol City did similar things that they got free kicks for to us, we got nothing. We got nothing from him. And it's like, bruh, are you fucking serious? And there was one point in the middle, there was I think it was something, maybe an aerial duel or something like that, and their player hits the deck, and then there's a fall, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, and then he blows up. And why does he blow up? Because the crowd start making noises because they wanted the free kick, and then when they make the noise, he gives it. So it was like he's a homer, but other than that, they weren't making that much noise, but he was just giving it to them anyway. So it's kind of bizarre that at the end he saves us, because there's a moment as well where there's like a penalty call because their player pushes Danny McNamara over and McNamara drops on the ball, and they're like, oh, handball. It's like, but he actually gave it as a free kick to us. He didn't give the penalty to them, and he took away their goal that wasn't offside, which instigated the things after the game that we're going to talk about later on. But yeah, they didn't mention it. So yeah, we did get a bit lucky in that game, but I would say, I don't know if you can see it here. You can't see it, Ivanovic. So, talking about injured players, obviously, Dinor came off at half-time. We don't know what that was about yet. We haven't got it from the press conference. We'll probably get it from tomorrow's Southern News, or maybe Monday. Was he sick? Was he injured? Did he vomit at half-time like a Maku? A Maku before, he vomited at half-time, and they took him off. So we'll see. But, he was playing well, so I don't know if he was sick. Obviously, this is the season, cold and flu season. Getting a bit free. It was freezing the other day, wasn't it? It was very cold, so. But you can't see it here, but Ivanovic, on his left hand, I don't know if he's broken his finger or what, but he had a thick white bandage on the middle finger, the one that you stick up when you give people the finger. He had that strapped up, and he had that wrapped up, and then that was strapped loosely to his 2 other fingers, like either side. So he's obviously done something to his finger, and he's having to play on because we don't have another centre forward. and he looked absolutely gassed at the end. We'll get into that in a minute. But let's have a look at the team. So the team was Max Crocombe, Tristan Crammer, Caleb Taylor, Jake Cooper, Zach Sturge, Casper De Noor, Daniel Kelly, who was absolutely fantastic as well. If I was to pick a man in a match, probably him, to be honest. Again, with Casper, he got moved into the Casper role after Casper went off. So he was moving around the pitch and he was still, pretty good. Fantastic. But, all in all, I think everyone played pretty well, to be honest. Pretty well. No one had a duff game. Femias is Reece Bangor-Williams, Edomu Maku and Mihailo Ivanovic. The subs bench was Danny McNamara, Turno Ballo, Camille Negley, Stephen Bender, Alfie Doughty, Macaulay Langstaff, Kamal Grant, AJ Matthews, Wes Harding. And the subs that came on were Negley on for Denora at half-time, Doughty on for Kelly in the 81st minute, Langstaff on for Aziz in the 82nd minute, Ballo on for Bangor-Williams in the 72nd minute, and McNamara on for Amaku in the 73rd minute. So there you go. Yellow cards for Bangor-Williams, Cooper, Sturge, Doughty and Ballo. I think we've got enough games between now and Christmas that if Cooper gets a card in every game, I think he's going to be suspended for maybe another match or two. He's also been suspended for reaching 5 yellow cards before a certain date. I think if you get to 10 before a certain date, you then have another spell on the sideline. So I don't know if he's trying to get Christmas at home with the family, but he's got booked today. Bangor-Williams got booked, Sturge got booked, Doughty got booked, and Ballo got booked. So that just goes to show, how one-sided the refereeing was, until bizarrely it wasn't at the end of the game. The referee, Ed Duckworth, again, 1,590 away fans. So there you go. That's the match report. Now let's move on to some pictures. Let's see if we get some image. There you go. Right there, you can see. You see that? Ivanovic's hand is fucked up, his middle finger. So here we go. Now, luckily he's not a goalkeeper, but, that's not... Obviously, they're going to be probably trying to yank on his fingers and shit like that, but there you go. So, we've got some pictures from millfc.co.uk, the club's official website. There's Femi Aziz. Casper De Noor, does he look sick? I don't know. Daniel Kelly. Tristan Crammer. Femi Aziz again. Daniel Kelly. Big hands, isn't he? He's got big hands. Zach Sturge. That's Femi's shot. I think that's the first one. That might be the second one. And there's the goal. Bosh. Have they cropped out Bangor-Williams? Because where would he be in the shot? Maybe he's on the left of the frame. Yeah, there you go. Right in front of the fans. The fans are there behind the goal. Maku's got his hands up to them. There you go. There he is, Bangor-Williams. With the assist. Bangor-Williams with the assist. There's a very interesting moment in the game in the second half. That Bangor-Williams kind of made a mistake. And he puffed his chest out, got on with it. And then about a minute later, he did an outrageous bit of skill where he kicked it up over the head of the Bristol City player, dropped it down and sent someone away. And that's what I love about the Bangor-Williams. I absolutely fucking love. Not just the confidence. It's like, okay, I made a mistake. Here we go. Let's double it and give it to the next guy. Yeah, not your head down, pounding the ground. Like, oh no, I made a mistake. Yeah, well, fucking crack on, and next time don't do it. That's Zach Sturge. He had a chance right at the end to make it 2-0. Didn't do that. And there's everyone at the end. After the shenanigans, I don't think they're going to be showing any pictures of the funny business after the game. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but you will see it in a minute because we're going to be covering it after we get some post-match comments from the manager. So here we go. Southwarknews.co.uk. Alex Newell Mill win at Bristol City. For us to do what we did today with 14 injuries, I'm delighted. Well, he's counting the injuries. Here we go. Let's see if we find out what happened in Casper the Nor. Alex Neil admitted it wasn't Mill's best performance, despite their 1-0 win over promotion rivals Bristol City, but praised his side's grit and determination in the context of a huge injury list that left them with no recognised central midfielder at the end of a tightly contested encounter at Ashton Gate. Alfie Doughty went in the middle. So the Lions started the game with Casper Nor and Dan Kelly in midfield. There are only 2 players available in that position. The Nor went off at half-time before Kelly, making just the second league start of his career 7 days after his first, was replaced by Alfie Doughty in the 82nd minute. The Robins had a late goal disallowed before the benches clashed. That's the funny business, as Mill remarkably closed the gap to second place Middlesbrough to 2 points. Again, we'll look at that at the end. It wasn't our best performance, we're fully aware of that, First half, I didn't think any team was great, but I thought they moved the ball well, but without really creating any chances, and there was that one that flashed across the box, but I think it was meant as a cross rather than a shot on goal. And I can't think of too many, but, we weren't great in the first half for sure, but we didn't carry a threat, and we didn't retain the ball, and we didn't pick enough second balls up, and we didn't press well enough, so we understand that we can certainly play better. However, what we can do as a team is we can stay in games. And if you stay in games, you always give yourself an opportunity, don't you? What I did think is second half we carried much more of a threat. And, Zach Sturge has a great chance. Femi has a good chance back post. We get the goal. And there's one where Ballo, shoots. And he probably should have slipped Femi in. But, so we certainly did enough in the second half to score at least one goal or even more, They also had a couple of opportunities. The first one was really frustrating for me because I think it's a clear foul on Coops. The centre forward just barges him to the ground and it lands and the lad has a shot and Max has to make a brilliant save. Then obviously they had the goal disallowed at the end. It's a really, really tight game and I thought they played better stuff than we did aesthetically. If you're looking at it like that on the eye. But, after Casper went off at half-time, we've got 8 central midfielders missing at the moment. We've got about 14 injuries in general right across the squad. So for us to do what we did today, come to a really difficult venue to keep a clean sheet and win the game, I'm delighted with our players and how they've applied themselves and what they managed to do in the game, how we defended and the fact that we did carry a threat in the second half. I'm really pleased. Yeah, I'm fucking really pleased as well, mate. Absolutely fantastic. That was the kind of result that you get when you know how to win games. And, you're a team that wins and you start climbing up the table. I'm starting to believe, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to believe. As mentioned, after the game on Boxing Day, we would have played every single team in this league once. We've got Derby still left to go, Hull left to go, Blackburn left to go, and Ipswich left to go. So there's 4 more teams that we have to play until we get to the halfway stage. At that point, you could be able to say where we are in the league, that's where we deserve to be. And all we have to do is match the results that we've got so far against the teams that we've played so far. Obviously, there are things that will change. Sheffield Wednesday, will they have new owners by then? Will they be allowed to start investing in the squad, etc., etc.? We have to play them again. Southampton got a new manager, but we did beat them. There were going to be changes, there were going to be improvements, but some teams are going to fall away. Teams that thought they were going to be challenging, they're not going to do well. Maybe players are going to leave in January. Maybe they're not going to be able to buy any players in January. We've had an awful thing with injuries. Maybe we start to get our players back and other teams start to have really bad situation with injuries. So, but more or less, if we're third in the table after Boxing Day, you've got to start to think we deserve to be third in the table after Boxing Day. And all we have to do is run that back again, playing the same teams in a different order, and we should be finishing there or thereabouts at the end of the season. So, there you go. Right, let's get on to the funny business. We'll start with this. This is from Yahoo Sport. uk.sportsyahoo.com. Right, here we go. This is from the Press Association, though. Gerhard Struber, the villain from Die Hard, and Alex Neil blamed each other after their lack of a post-match handshake led to ugly scenes at the final whistle of Millwall's fiercely competitive championship win away at Bristol City. Millwall boss Neil claimed Struber withdrew his hand, while his opposite number insisted he made 2 efforts to take it, which were ignored. Lion striker Mihajlo Ivanovic grabbed the only goal. Yeah, we know all that. It's alright. But the major talking point came at the end when staff and players from both clubs became involved in a touchline brawl. That took a while to break up and is certain to provoke an investigation. Yeah, another FA charge coming our way. Neil said, "I'll tell you exactly what happened. I went to shake the head coach's hand and he pulled his hand away, which I found disappointing. I made that clear, and the next thing it was all handbags all around. Irrespective of the result, I always shake the hand of the opposition manager, and it was the same today, but, so I accept no blame for what happened." Fantastic. Struber argued, "To be crystal clear, I twice tried to shake his hand, and I hope there are pictures which will prove that, which happened, did not look nice, and we all have zero responsibility in that situation, but emotions, run high at the end of a game like that." Seconds before the final whistle, City's Zach Viner fired in what looked to be a valid equaliser, only to be denied by a linesman's flag against teammate Ross McCrory, who had headed the ball across the penalty area. It looked a harsh decision. Not for the first time, Struber called for VAR to be introduced in championship fixtures. He said, "Oh, there are some experienced officials in our league, but also some young ones who need some help. And I am not the only coach to think this, and, today a video referee would have made sure our goal was given. The players were upset at the decision, so emotions were high at the final whistle, and I can't say that it contributed to what happened at the end, but I understand how they felt. We control a lot of the game, but we have to be sharper when it comes to finishing the chances that we create, and Mill defended very well and was sharp when it came to taking their goal. They are high in the table and we matched them, which is a positive going into another home game against Leicester on Wednesday." And then we get the quote. We get the same quotes that we just had from the Southwark story. Right, so talking is talking, but showing is showing. So I'm going to show you. This is from a channel on YouTube called Sportboy Only Sport and Fun. So this is the video. I'm going to have to loop it a couple of times because I'm going to show some things. It's being filmed from Bristol City. That's David Livermore on the floor, not next to some Bristol City fans. Believe, and everyone's getting involved. For some reason, some of the Bristol fans decided to attack an old man with a grey beard, otherwise known as the Doctor. I don't know why the players decided to do it. I don't know why they did that. And there we go, Doctor yourself. That's great. Probably going to look around. I want to show you a few things from this angle. Here's the thing. Now we'll start with them all because they can't attack them if they can. But hopefully the referee saw this. We're going to pause it a bit. So that's going to start again. I'm going to show you something. We're going to pause it here. So for some reason, Wes Harding, he's on one side of the ruck. He decides to run around behind this guy. He touched this guy. I don't think he did. He just grabbed him because he's trying to spin round to the other side. This guy falls over, and instead of going after Wes Harding, apparently that guy's name is Joe Williams. I think that I heard one of their fans praising him for bringing on the floor, for getting David Livermore on the floor. But Wes Harding caused him to slip. He's wearing trainers, not studded boots. So he slips on his arse. He takes that personally and decides to go on a mission to go after, to add and get involved and drag Livermore, even further. So now pause that. But check out this fat bastard who's come here. He's wearing what looks like grey trackies. They tracksuit bottoms. They might be grey jeans. He's wearing a thin, black jacket with a hood, but also a beanie. I think that is a fan that has come onto the pitch. There was a longer angle. There was an angle from a higher up where you could see the gate. There's a gate to the right, but to the of the dugout, not right next to it, but further along a bit. And you could see people trying to open the gate and get through, and there's stewards there, closing it every time they try and open it. But I think this fat bastard got through. So watch the guy in the grey tracksuit bottoms, right? He's getting in. He grabs Livermore's collar and he drags him back from behind. There you go, boom. He's on the ground, and then he turns around and he's gone. Whereas everyone else who's a player, a coach, or whatever, they're sticking around. But he fucks off after he drags him to the ring. So what I want to show you is going to come up with there's something else I want to show you. We're going to have to go around again. Bear with me, I'll show you something. So you can see the Millwall players all getting involved, everyone's getting involved. You see a clip later on at the end of the game, that's the Millwall fans down there. That's Let's mute it. Noise is getting on my tits. Right, where are we going? So they're all getting involved. The doctor's getting involved. The physio. Wes Harding comes. That guy slips. The fat bastard from the pitch comes in. Where is it? Is it coming up? Right. Where are we going? Pause it. You see the guy at the top in the fluorescent jacket? Go to the right of that. That's Stephen Bender. He's just standing there. Obviously, he's on loan. Wasn't playing well. And, he's now that Crocom's playing well, he's on the bench. He was injured, came back. He's clearly going to be going back to Fulham in January because Jensen's coming back to. But here we go. Doesn't give a shit. He's just standing there. Puts his hand in his pocket. He's got his hand on his bag in his other hand. That's all you saw. But nonchalant. It's like, well, what's this then? Something is happening. Oh, so there you go. So we've got that. We've also got this, which is the longer angle, but it's cropped in, so we don't see the gate situation. So this is at the end, but we're gonna loop. We have to wait for it to loop to the start because they're all. So there's a guy in a blue bib who loses shit. He's kicking off with the doctor, the old man with a grey beard, and it goes over to the left hand side. Right. So look in the technical area. That's Alex Neil there. He just wandered off, picked up a bottle of water, had a little sip, closed the lid back on it, and put it back down. So what initially started was their guy, Jason Knight. No, what happened was there was a thing with the managers. So they went to shake hands. It looked like their manager didn't want to shake hands, and then Alex Neil said, threw his own hand up and said, "Well, fuck you then." And then their player, who was already subbed off, so I don't know what he was doing. There's some sort of suggestions that he ran over and get. No, he was already subbed off, Jason Knight. He two-hand pushes Alex Neil in the chest, and then fucking Dave Livermore comes in and grabs a guy by the throat, realises, oh shit, I probably shouldn't do that, and then kind of just grabs him by the shirt. And then we get all this funny business, and you can see the players running in. It looks, I don't know, is that Negley? I think Negley and Barlow running. Someone else, is that Langstaff, and it's still on the pitch. They're running in. I think Ivanovic is too fucked to run in. He's probably still sitting on the ground. But so you can see here. So on the bottom right, you can see where there's a steward there. Some of the fans are trying to get on the pitch. See if you can see the fat bastard in the grey trackies. No, you can't see. It goes off the camera. But, yeah, you can't see it. But, okay, that's enough of that. We've seen that. So let's have a look at this scenes here. Now, this is a video from a channel called Nagawi on YouTube. You see the only person with a grey beard and grey hair is the doctor. And, some of them went straight for him. How nice, See an old man, attack an old man. You couldn't start with everyone else, yeah. So we got the scenes here. This is what looks like to be clips of different things put together. You see, look, that guy comes in and fucking right arm smashes Tries to right arm smash the doctor. I don't know who that was. This is a different clip. It's clipped to another thing. You can see the fan there in the grey trackies. He pulling him. He pulls him down, and then we can't see him anymore because they move over to the guy in a blue bib who fucking loses his shit. That's Crammer running in there. Yeah, that was Negley running in, was it? No, is that? Yeah, that's Negley. Number 10. Jake Cooper's over on that side. Crocom's getting involved here. Obviously, all the while this is going on, Bender's just standing in his seat. He's like, fucking, mind, this is, what is this? This is a different clip from right behind the dugout there. So, yeah, we're halfway through the video. Everyone's got their phones out. There's Ivanovic. You can see, look, there's... they zoom in so you don't see it. So this is from the Bristol City end as well. They keep moving. Why can't people who film this stuff keep their fucking camera straight? They're shaking like they got the fucking shits. Like, bro, just keep your fucking camera straight, mate. If you're gonna film it right. Jesus. And what did you film it on? A fucking potato? There you go. Who's that there? Is that Ivanovic having a rest? Yeah. Oh, let's just shot from the Millwall end. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. Is that the end? Yeah, that's the end. So there you go. You get the idea with that. So fun and games, definitely going to be a charge. I do wonder if Bristol City are going to apologise that one of their fans entered the field of play and physically assaulted a Millwall coach. I do wonder if they're going to mention that. Obviously, we have the videos, we have the evidence. It can be traced back, so they should probably get ahead of it before it comes out. They should apologise either publicly or privately about that, because and they probably should start searching for the guy and get him banned for life or whatever they do. Because you can't have fans running onto the pitch and physically assaulting, members of the opposition team. That's not how that works. So, yeah. We can't have Eric Cantona kung fu-ing, Crystal Palace fans. We certainly can't have fans coming onto the pitch and dragging people down from behind when they least expect it. So, there you go. Now, after all that fun and games, excellent result, okayish performance, very battling, contritional performance, but an excellent result. Let's have a look at the other results from the league today. Obviously, I told you about the result yesterday, so I'm not going to go through that again. Now, we have two abandoned games, which I'm going to have to mention. One at Charlton, which was sadly due to a fan dying in the crowd. Well, he didn't die in the crowd. I shouldn't say that. He had a medical emergency in the crowd, and they announced afterwards that he died in hospital. So that got the game abandoned. The game at Blackburn was abandoned after Blackburn 1-0 up due to a wet pitch. This is the second game this season so far that has happened, where they have had a game start and then be abandoned because of heavy rain, making the pitch unplayable. Reason why I'm going to talk about that in a minute is because we play them in 2 weeks' time. We're playing them on the Saturday the 20th of December. It's the game before Christmas. We better not travel all the way up there and have the game abandoned. But anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the rest of the results today: Derby 1, Leicester 3, Watford 3, Norwich 2, Bristol City 0, Millwall 1, Ipswich 3, Coventry 0, Preston 1, Wrexham 1, Queen's Park Rangers 3, West Bromwich Albion 1, Sheffield United 4, Stoke 0, Southampton 3, Birmingham 1, and Swansea 2, Oxford 0. So there you go. Only the second defeat of the season by for Coventry. It was an away game, but they've scored 50 goals. That's about what. And they did lose to the team that scored the second most goals in the league. So there you go. Although to keep them to score so many goals against them and to keep them to a clean sheet. But that takes Ipswich up to 4th. They're 3 points behind us. We are in 3rd. So we have a buffer. If we do slip up in the next game and someone else doesn't, that gives us a buffer where we won't slide halfway down the table. But Ipswich are behind us. They're 4th. A month ago they were in the bottom half of the table. They've turned it around, and they were many people's tips to win the league. They were tipped to be doing what Coventry are doing, which is run away with the division. But that hasn't happened. But could they still do it? You would think they should probably be above us. They were in the Premier League last season. They had a better squad than us. More money than us probably. But could they climb above us and knock us down? I certainly don't hope so. We're on a negative goal difference still. We're 3rd in the table. 3rd in the table with a negative goal difference. You love to see it. We have lost the most amount of games of the top 5. We lost 5 games, but we won 10. And that's the thing. It's about winning games, stupid. And we've won 10 games out of 19. How many games have Ipswich won? 8. And I've said this before, I said it again. It's better to win 1 game and lose 1 game than to draw 2 games. You get 3 points. Whereas if you draw 2 games, you get 2 points. But every time anyone loses a game, you shit your fucking pants. And everyone, oh, we this and that, oh, no. Everyone starts moaning because you've lost the game. But you won a game as well. You won, you lose. Especially, here's the thing. If you lose trying to win the game. So if you're behind and you think, fuck it, let's fucking go for it. Or if you're drawing and you think, what's the point of trying to save a draw? Let's fucking try and win the game. And then you end up losing. At least you tried. If you defend and try and nick it and then you end up losing, what's that? Have a go. Try and win the game. If you lose, you lose. If you win, you get the rewards. This is what we're getting now. We're 3rd in the fucking table. Look at that. We're 2 points behind Middlesbrough. 2 points. 2 points behind Middlesbrough. And Ipswich have lost. I know Coventry lost today. So we're now, 9 points behind them? All we have to do is maintain the gap and then beat Coventry, and then, we'll reduce it to 6 points. And then we'll have a chance of overtaking them. Win the league? Who wants to win the league? Put your hands up. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's 3 wins in a row. And if you look on the coloured bit where the things are, the right hand side is the most recent one. I think other than Sheffield United, we're the form team. Sheffield United have won 4 in a row. We've won 3 in a row. And that's what you need to do to climb up the table. You've got to win games. Also Southampton, obviously, they won 5 out of 6. But But here's the thing, Sheffield United, can they charge up the table now? If they keep winning, obviously they got Patrick Bamford. He should be playing somewhere better than Sheffield United, but there he is. They were supposed to be at the top of the table as well, so they're not. But how many points are they off? 10 points, 12 points? They've got a 12-point gap to close between now and the end of the season. So, fantastic, absolutely fantastic that we're 3rd in the table. Like I said, 19 games. Once we get to Ipswich, that'll be 23 games. We would have played every single team. And then, we'll see where we are. Hopefully 3rd or higher. And then you've got to say to the players, look, you've done it once. You've played every team in this division. You're 3rd in the table. All you got to do is go again. Do the same, get the same results or even better. And we're fucking laughing. Easy peasy. Let's fucking go. And we should be getting, we've done that with so many injuries as well. So many injuries. And here's the thing, like, we've got this, this policy of signing the youngsters, signing these young prospects and bringing them in. And you bring them in and you throw them in. Like Danny Kelly's fantastic today. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Bangor Williams, fantastic. Amaku, probably a bit greedy. Should have crossed it 1 or 2 times. But, we'll see how we go. But, we see how we go. We Derby away on Wednesday. So let's, while we're here, let's have a little look. What's happening in the next round of games? So obviously we're playing on Wednesday. So obviously we can't drop down a table before we play. We'll just get caught up. Let's go back down. So immediately below us, I would say Ipswich, Preston, Stoke, Bristol. Ipswich, Preston, Stoke, and Bristol. Go back up. Preston are at home to Coventry. That's on the Tuesday. Ipswich plays Stoke, so they both can't win that one. I would suggest that Ipswich will probably win that. I think Stoke are probably going to start dropping down the table now. And this is the thing. Some teams, shall we suggest Stoke, they've played the easy teams first. And now they're getting to the point where they've got to play everyone. They start playing the tougher teams. They'll start picking up results where they lose, and then they'll start dropping down the table. That's to the point where I was saying, well, once we've played everyone, then we'll know. Once we played after Ipswich on Boxing Day, which, by the way, if that game is probably going to be a fucking banger as well. Ipswich on Boxing Day, at home at the Den. If you haven't got a ticket for that yet, I mean, fucking hell. Obviously, it's Boxing Day, so pretty going to be hard to get there. What was the other team that I mentioned? So Ipswich, Stoke, was it Preston? Preston, Country, Ipswich, Stoke. I've forgotten. Who was the other one? I've forgotten. Ipswich, Preston, Bristol City. So they've got Coventry, but they've got Leicester. So they've got Leicester at home on the Wednesday. So only one of the teams directly below us is playing on Tuesday, and they've got Coventry, and then it's Ipswich, Stoke, and then Bristol versus Leicester, and us away at Derby. What did they do today? I forgot. They lost at home to Leicester in the East Midlands Derby, and they are now here in 15th. So again, it's an away game, so it's not going to be easy. But they've lost 3 of their last 4. They've lost at home to Watford, conceding 3 goals. They won away at Swansea. They lost away at Middlesbrough. And they lost at home to Leicester, conceding 3 goals. So, yeah. Very much winnable game. Not going to be easy, but especially if we do have Denor injured, that's certainly not going to be easy. Anyway, let's start talking about these abandoned games. We'll start off with this one. So, Blackburn Rovers 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0, abandoned. And there's the ball being dropped on the pitch. The classic, let's drop the ball and see if it bounces. And it doesn't. It just drops like a stone and sinks and kicks up a load of water. So Blackburn suffered yet more bad weather agony as the second championship game at Ewood Park was called off this season because of heavy rain. Yes, second time this season. This is from bbc.co.uk. Referee Ruben Ricardo took the players off after 61 minutes, with Blackburn leading Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 through Yuki Hohashi's first half strike. The ball was not rolling properly because of the rain, and Ricardo felt he had no alternative but to abandon the game, despite the best efforts of the ground staff to improve the service. Yeah, I think they had a little break to try and let them fix it, but or they were fixing it at half time. They had the rollers where they roll it over, and then you have to take it off the pitch and pull a cork out the side of it and then tip the water out. And this is the second time they had a game against Ipswich in September abandoned in the 80th minute. Yes. So, yeah. This is getting ridiculous. They're notorious for this. And you say, well, I mean, it's in Lancashire. It's up north. It rains a lot up north. How many other teams have suffered this? Not many. Not many. And it isn't just this season, it's last season as well. And like I said earlier, now that the guy at Sheffield Wednesday's gone, Chansiri, you could probably argue that the owners of Blackburn Rovers are now the worst owners of a football team in the league. They fire a manager, multiple times a year. Probably after the Watford guys, actually. Well, probably between them and Watford, about firing managers. But they're kind of mad, aren't they? So you do wonder, are they spending any money to improve the drainage at the pitch off the pitch? But even if they do something, it's probably going to be too late before we play them away on Saturday the 20th of December. Now, here's the thing. You might think, well, it's raining a lot this year, climate change and all that. It's actually been quite a dry year this year. We have not been getting more rain than normal. We've actually been getting less rain than normal. It's been actually quite a dry year, especially the months of March and August. Very dry indeed. So now you obviously said, well, a short burst of rain over a small amount of time, a deluge, if you will, that's going to create conditions that's very hard to deal with. There is only a certain time, drainage and time. Over time, there's only a certain amount of water that can drain through. That is a very good point. Looking ahead to the game in 2 weeks, I was able to find a 2-week weather forecast from BBC Weather. This is bbc.co.uk/weather. This is for Blackburn, Lancashire. With the 4,000 holes. Hopefully they filled them all up, but otherwise they'll be full of water. Because this is absolutely fucking remarkable. It is going to be raining every single day from today until the day that we play them. Are you serious? Apparently, but this is the BBC weather, so I don't think you can believe a lot of what you see on the BBC these days, sadly. They do post a lot of rubbish. Double rain, 2 teardrops on Sunday, heavy rain, light rain on Monday the 8th, double rain on Tuesday the 9th, Wednesday the 10th, light rain, only a little bit of drizzle on Thursday the 11th, raining on Friday the 12th, light rain, and the 13th. Sunday the 14th, the light rain comes back, and on Monday, and on Tuesday, and on Wednesday the 17th, and on Thursday the 18th, and on Friday the 19th. Yes, it is. It's gonna be raining every single fucking day from now until the day that we play them. For the love of God. Now here's the thing. So I believe this is a 12:30 kickoff. So far this season, 2 games at Blackburn have been started and then abandoned because of rain. For the fucking love of God, can either an EFL official organise and sort something out, or the Referees Association, PGMOL, whatever they're called, PGMOL, please fucking sort something out where they get a pitch inspection on Friday the 19th before the Millwall fans travel up there. Because talking about the tickets going on sale, on that story that I did for the video on the Daily Mail channel that you're watching now, the coaches leave for Blackburn from the Den at 4:30 in the morning. So what's going to happen is the Millwall fans are going to get on the coaches. They're going to start driving up to Blackburn. But before they get there, usually when they do pitch inspections in the morning, especially for a 12:30 kickoff, it'll be a 7:30 or an 8:30 a.m. They'll do that. by that time it's too late because the Millwall fans will already be up close to, where would they be? Probably, what's the one, Staffordshire? They'll be up near there by the time the referee, gets down to the ground and the groundsman lets him in, unlocks the door, lets him in to do his pitch inspection. Can someone from the fucking league organise it that they do the pitch inspection the night before, 6 p.m, 7 p.m, whatever, and then, even if it's good enough, so, if they look at the weather forecast and think, okay, there's going to be more rain coming, let's postpone it right fucking now. Don't try and get the game to kick off, because if it gets abandoned the week before Christmas, you are taking the fucking piss. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look at this. It's raining every single fucking day between now and when we play them in 2 weeks' time. So please, someone do fucking something. Do your fucking job. Stop trying to get games going on. And I don't know why they do this. They're afraid of postponing games, whether it's TV, whether it's international television rights, whether it's Sky, whatever. They try to get the games on, and then the games get abandoned in the 80th minute from the game before, and from the 61st minute from the game today. This is disgraceful to the fans. You can't do this to people. It's a fucking joke, and apparently, I'm not sure the rules, whether the tickets are still valid for the game that gets rearranged. I think I might be getting it confused with the National League, where it's certainly not, and you have to buy a new ticket. So I'm not sure what the EFL rules are, but for fuck's sake, please don't let this game go ahead and then get abandoned. If it's going to get postponed, do it the day before. Don't fuck around, please. Now moving on to the reason why the Charlton game was abandoned. Okay, this is from CharltonAFC.com. This is a club statement that they put out. The club are devastated to report that a Charlton Athletic supporter has died following a medical emergency during today's game at the Valley against Portsmouth. The match was halted in the 12th minute while the supporter received treatment and was subsequently postponed. The club would like to thank the Charlton staff and first responders who did everything they could, but sadly, the supporter later passed away in hospital. The club are grateful to supporters in attendance and the Portsmouth players and staff for their patience and understanding as this tragedy unfolded. Everyone at the club sends their heartfelt condolences to the supporters' family and friends at this incredibly difficult time. They haven't named the guy, but other people have. He is a well-known fan, apparently, at Charlton. In fact, so much so that they made a video with him in 2020. So this is him in 2020. His name's Norman. This is the guy who passed away today, famously known as Headphone Man, for those who don't know his name. They filmed this in 2020. I think it was about returning to football, once the government restrictions because of that flu that went around. They made a video about him in 2020, so he's already looking quite old now. This is 5 years ago. So this is the guy who passed away today, and why the game was abandoned. So rest in peace, Norman, as it says here from at Mr. Blue 85, a Millwall fan. So yeah, indeed. Now moving on to the match report for the under-18s game that we covered yesterday. This is from millfc.co.uk, the official website of Millwall. Millwall under-18s are edged out by Everton in 5-goal thriller at the Den. A valiant effort from the Young Lions in the FA Youth Cup third round, but the visitors ran out 3-2 winners. The first opportunity of the game fell to Millwall after just 3 minutes as Jayden Thomas-Smith dispossessed Harlow McEverly and barely laid down on goal. Before firing a low shot which was caught by Douglas Lujanskics in the Everton net. Harlow, that's an interesting first name. I think famously Brooklyn Beckham is called Brooklyn Beckham because it's said that he was conceived in the Brooklyn borough of New York. I wonder if that's the same for Harlow McEverly. That's an interesting name to call someone Harlow. Maybe they got confused with Marlowe. 8 minutes later, Thomas Smith made no mistake with his second opportunity as the striker latched onto an inch-perfect Will through ball to race in one-on-one with the keeper and slot the ball into the bottom right corner to give Chris Perry's men the advantage. The visitors drew themselves level with the first major opening of the match for them as a Malik Olayiwola in-swinging delivery was bundled in at the front post by Braden Graham halfway through the first 45. The Toffees went close twice following the goal. Firstly, Ray Robert almost turned the game on its head as his powerful edge-of-the-box effort went just wide of Casper Lindner's left-hand post. Kieran Looney then went close as he was sent through one-on-one by Ollie Wola, but he could only fire straight at Lindner. Millwall gained back some momentum and went close through Ralphie Beckwith. He was played through by Edward Payton, who did well to intercept a loose pass on the halfway line and send in Beckwith, but his shot was blocked. The away side went into the break with a lead as Graham fired a powerful volley into the top left corner from 12 yards out. He was in the right place at the right time following a headed clearance to make it 2-1. In the early stages of the second half, it was the Young Lions on top with the best chance coming to Sheldon Kendall, who latched onto Thomas Smith's ball over the top and attempted to chip Lou Jankis, but the Everton number one managed to prevent an equaliser. The Merseysiders got back into their stride and went close twice in 10 minutes. A quickly taken free kick found Robert on the left flank. The number 10's delivery eventually fell to Shea Pitta at the back post, who saw his inside of the box effort blocked by Kane Dixon. Louis Poland then went close, following a 1-2 on the left side of Graham. The left back made his way into the box and fired straight at Lindner. Thomas Smith secured a brace and levelled proceedings with just over 10 minutes left at the 90 as the Everton backline misjudged a long ball, allowing the prolific striker to slide the ball underneath Lou Jankis with a placed right-footed finish to make the score 2 apiece. The match remained a well-contested cup tie as we headed towards the end of additional time, but the visitors, like I said, the referee was fucking playing on and on and on and on. They clearly didn't want to play extra time. But the visitors managed to secure progression to the fourth round against West Ham, by the way, as excellent footwork for Demi Akari Kiri saw them enter space in the final third and play a perfectly placed through ball to Looney, who struck the ball into the bottom right corner from inside the box. An excellent effort from Perry's men, but it ended in a narrow defeat against under-18 Premier League opposition. Yeah, we always give these teams, a good run for their money, especially at the Den. That's why it's well worth going to these cup games. So on that note, I will tell you in advance, 2 days in advance, the under-21s are in their own cup game, although this one is it's a group stage cup game, so it's not do or die on a day. But this is away at Wolverhampton Wanderers, but it's been played at Agra Stadium, which is Kidderminster Harriers Stadium. It's 7 p.m. kickoff on Monday. So this Monday, 7 p.m. Away at Kidderminster Stadium, right in the middle of Kidderminster. And it's not that often you get a Mill side playing away at Kidderminster. In fact, the first team have only played once away at Kidderminster, and that was in what looks to be an FA Cup second round tie, maybe a first round tie, in November 1980, and that ended in a 1-1 draw. Although since we played them, that would have been when they had the cycle track around the ground. That's been removed. That got removed in the 1990s. In fact, this was before I was born. I was born in 1981, so this was before I was born. So if you want to go to see a new ground, technically it's the under-21s, but it all counts, doesn't it? I think under-21s counts, doesn't it? If you want to go to a new ground, tick a new ground off. Kidderminster's ground, Kidderminster Harriers. They used to be a league team? I think they did, didn't they? Or have they ever got in a league? I can't remember. I think maybe I'm just thinking they've been in the league because it's quite a famous name. You don't get many Harriers. Harriers is like that's the kind of name that you get added to an athletics things is Harriers. That's what they get called. Athletics clubs get names like that. But Kidderminster Harriers. So we have played there before, the first team in an FA Cup tie that finished 1-1, and then we beat them 3 days later at the Den 1-0, which obviously wouldn't happen today. The FA Cup second round was played today, and there's no replays. It's just you go to extra time, you go to penalties, which is, it's disadvantages in non-league teams. The magic of the FA Cup, what was there, is, it's vanished. It's gone. It's disappeared. I think there's very few non-league teams are going to be going through to the third round this year, which is sad, really. But money talks and magic walks. And on that note, thank you for watching, and goodbye.